what we've done with respect to these integrations isn't just around the service integrations, but the full CI/CD pipeline. We've built integrations with Visual Studio so that you can access your Bluemix services in .NET from Visual Studio, with TFS, which we'll talk about in a little bit, so that you can push applications to your Apprenda Bluemix cloud and have those apps up and running as part of your development and deployment pipeline. So at the beginning, I mentioned that what we cared about quite deeply was that this felt like a normal .NET ecosystem. To get developers to use a new platform, I think a big part of it, and me being a former developer, I feel like I can say this, is making sure that you don't disrupt the flow of how you're used to doing things, right? You want the same tooling, the same experience, the same ecosystem, and the integrations that we've done in Visual Studio and TFS allow for that. Now, what you're going to see here is that we're using Visual Studio, and we're actually just making some more modifications to the app, and we're keeping this all native to the developer's IDE. Again, the goal is keep that experience as high fidelity and as .NET-like as possible. Prior to the relationship that we built with IBM and all the work that we invested as a team, we didn't have these capabilities to say, hey, how easy is it going to be to get Bluemix services in a .NET app? How easy is it to tap into those capabilities from my normal native .NET development experience? So part of the outcome is that now we've jointly provided the runtime capabilities and these development stack capabilities. What you'll see in a little bit once we get past the Visual Studio part is the TFS conversation and the ability to push TFS actions to Bluemix so that you can publish an app as part of your CI/CD pipeline. Any questions so far on the demo? Great. Now, the other part of this, and this is where the evolution will continue, we keep building additional integrations, additional features, and additional capabilities. This is the first release of this tech. As Bluemix expands, as the capabilities in the various services expand, we'll continue to add those capabilities so that the .NET developers have access to the full gamut of what's available on Bluemix. The experience itself will continue to evolve. What we're finding is that we're in a bit of a mixed runtime world now. You have people developing microservices in parallel to migrating .NET applications. That relationship between the different teams ends up being pretty important. And how can we continue to evolve this offering so that it becomes easier and easier for people to build both cloud-native services not in .NET and integrate those with the typical .NET experience that most developers want. Now, in this part of the demo, what you'll find is, and this is where we're getting into TFS a little bit, you're starting to see the continuous deployment pipeline. By brokering this in, you end up with a truly agile capability and capacity in .NET and the .NET developer's viewpoint and Bluemix. That integrated pipeline is going to be critical if you're going to be able to actually execute in an agile way and not just lift and shift your apps. And I mentioned earlier that the end goal tends to be for most companies not just lifting and shifting, but evolving these applications over time. So part of what we focused on is how can we give a developer experience that allowed for that level of agility so that people can iterate and modify that app and move the app forward into kind of a new era here. Now, there's a pretty basic application that we're working on for the CI/CD pipeline. It's a time card management app. It's one of the sample apps that we publish as part of the stack that we're now running on Bluemix and offering to you guys. But what you could do is actually pull these assets down and try these CI/CD workflows yourself. You can try using Visual Studio and pushing applications directly from there. So everything that you're seeing in this demo is available so that you can test it out, especially these sample applications, including the retail app that we talked about earlier.